Good morning. I'm making this post quickly and early. It's 6 a.m. because today is a very, very important day here in Canada, British Columbia. I think it's just British Columbia today, but it's called Truth and Reconciliation Day. My shirt says "Every Child Matters" because it's to represent the residential schools that were made by the Canadian government, run by Catholic Charities or Christian Charities. I'm not 100% sure if all of them were that way, and stole the children out of these people's, these Indigenous families' homes and took them, and so often they did not return home. It is a mass genocide created by the Canadian government. It's embarrassing. My daughter and I went to Victoria shortly after the first mass grave was found at a residential school, and the Parliament buildings were covered in, the stairs were covered in teddy bears for the kids that were lost, to symbolize that. It hits very close to home because my daughter is Indigenous from her father, as well as I have other family that's Indigenous, and thankfully, especially these women are speaking out against what they feel has been injustice. So, and they're wanting to help the youth move through, like my daughter would love to become an Aboriginal youth worker in the school. She's already got her certificate for education assistance, so as soon as she gets into a school, then hopefully she can work her way through that. But when she was born, I actually didn't know she was Indigenous. It wasn't until DNA proof through her biological dad that she was. And through that, it gives her some benefits. It gave her some schooling money, and some extended health coverage and whatever. Over the years, it's been helpful for that. But it's sad that they were forced onto these reservations, and then the first reconciliation, I guess, is just proving the fact that these people deserve help from the Canadian government. So my daughter is the last. Her kids will not get the same any benefits. So she's the last generation of her line to get the benefit of being an Indigenous person, and so it's very important to her. And but one thing I want to say quickly is that it's embarrassing to be Canadian when you hear about these or know about this story, but we're doing everything we can to reconcile it. We cannot change the past, but we can move forward with what we feel what is correct, and not make the same mistake again, just like everything else in life. Reconciling it, I think maybe they are going a little far in a lot of cases with the reconciliation portion of it. Pulling down statues. It depends. Like it's kind of a case for case basis, but we have to remember that our history is important too. We are part of this country. We may not have been welcome. We may not have asked to come, but unfortunately, the generations, I'm like 4 or 5 down the line, generational Canadian. Not blood, like blood. My blood's very thick with European blood, but it's Canadian. And so I feel like, there has to be a balance between our being able to continue the legacy of Canada that, from the beginning of time, to the legacy that we brought, and continue to the legacy that, the immigrants that are coming now are going to bring, and change our life for however different ways that they're going to do. So we just move forward. It's a scar. We acknowledge it. We apologize for it. We try and do things differently, and hopefully we can get everybody that needs help, trauma help, and heal, and things getting on a more positive note for the entire Indigenous population. I hope. That is what I hope. I have my best friend works with Métis. I have quite a few friends that work with social work for Métis as well. And my daughter is Haida. But anyways, it hits quite close to home today. So it was really scary when kids were little. People wouldn't register their births, because when kindergarten or grade 1 came, the government would come for the kids to come get them for their school. So mothers weren't registering their births. They were lying so that they could keep their kids at home. So these kids weren't receiving an education either. So under being a Canadian citizen, doesn't matter your skin color, you are entitled to an education. So I don't understand. I don't know enough to speak out against this, or because I don't know why they were taken out of their community to be educated. They should have been educated in their community, which is what they do now, mostly. But anyways, it's a very important day. So please take time, research it, look it up, think about these kids, and families, send a prayer up to God, and just let's learn from this, Canada, and move on.